Hello students, regarding translation we have to see some points in this molecular basis of inheritance. Remember, the process of translation is otherwise known as protein biosynthesis. It can be called. It is called protein biosynthesis. In the previous lecture, I was telling you about raw materials required for protein synthesis. The main raw material are amino acids we require for this purpose. You know that 20 types of amino acids are there in our cytoplasm. They can be arranged in different permutation combination, and by that method we can get a protein molecule. In addition to amino acids, we require mRNA also for the purpose of template like that, or mRNA will give the blueprint for amino acid arrangement. In addition to this, we need a main thing called ribosomes also. You may recall, ribosomes are the protein biosynthetic factories. In the previous lecture, I told you about the structure of ribosome. Even mRNA we know, genetic code we know, and about amino acids we know already. In addition to all these things, we need tRNA also as the raw material. tRNA. Apart from tRNA, in the tRNA structure we have seen in the previous class, it is the cloverleaf model proposed by Robert Halley. We have seen. In that tRNA, there will be 4 loops present, 3 loops, and 4 arms are present in the tRNA molecule. One of the loops, otherwise one of the arm, that 3' end will be joining with amino acid. It will bind with amino acid, that is called amino acid binding site, it can be called. And towards the 5' end, there is one loop called DHU loop. DHU loop is meant for activating the amino acid. Then there is one anticodon loop present in the tRNA molecule. In the previous class, I told you about this thing. This is called the anticodon loop. Anticodon loop will be complementary to the codon present in the mRNA. Codon is there in the mRNA, anticodon is there in the tRNA, they are complementary to each other. Already we saw one point, mRNA is complementary to the template of DNA we have seen. So that the template and the anticodon will be similar except for uracil, remember. In DNA, thymine will be present, here uracil will be present, okay. Then in addition to the tRNA, some other raw material we require here will be in the form of enzymes, remember. So enzymes are required for this purpose. Apart from all these things, it is an energy consuming process also. So regarding energy, which provide energy and everything, we have to study here. So these are the raw materials required for translation. Now, how to define the word translation? What is translation? They can ask. Translation can be defined as polymerization. Okay, the polymerization of amino acids. Polymerization of amino acids into proteins. Okay, into polypeptide chain, we can say here. Into polypeptide chain. How to polymerize the amino acid means based upon, on the basis of the codons present in mRNA. Based upon the codons of mRNA and with the help of the amino acids, otherwise with the help of ribosomes, we can say. Ribosomes. Then tRNA, then enzymes we can say. Okay, this is the definition for for translation. What is translation? It is the polymerization of amino acids into polypeptide chain based upon the codons of mRNA with the help of ribosomes, tRNA, enzymes, etc. So this is etc. refers to some energy and all the process we can say. So this is called the process of translation. We have seen already about the replication, transcription. Replication means formation of DNA from another DNA. Transcription means formation of mRNA from the DNA. Now this is polymerization of amino acid. What is polymerization of amino acid? You are joining the amino acids in a particular sequence. Who will tell you about that sequence of amino acid? That codons of mRNA will tell us in which sequence we have to order the or we have to arrange the amino acid. When you arrange the amino acid into a chain, that chain is called the polypeptide chain we are telling. Why it is called polypeptide chain? Between one amino acid and another amino acid, peptide bond will be synthesized. So group of peptide bonds will become a polypeptide chain here. And for this, where it is occurring, it occurs in the ribosomes of our cell. You must know that ribosomes are present in both prokaryote and eukaryotic cells. So all the cells have ribosomes. It is a membraneless organ. It has got two subunits, larger subunit and smaller subunit like that. Then tRNA is required for this, enzymes are required for this purpose. Just to make note of this definition, we will go further. I told you about the raw materials required for protein synthesis, and then what is the definition for this. I will tell you now about the process of translation in detail. Okay, just make it. Okay, students, you might have written this one. We have seen what is translation. It is nothing but a protein biosynthesis. So one interesting point here is genes present in the DNA express themselves in the form of protein synthesis. The protein produced by the ribosome may be a functional protein like enzyme, hormone and other things, or it may be a structural protein. Structural protein means it will help for the phenotypical expression of a gene. The shape of the nose, color of the hair and so many things, that is phenotypical expression. So translation is important for the purpose of gene expression. Remember, if a gene has to express itself, it should send a messenger called mRNA. Based on the messenger, ribosome will synthesize the protein. That protein will be behaving either as a structural protein or as a functional protein in our body. So starting from our birth or even before the birth itself, fertilization we can say, this protein biosynthesis start to occur throughout our lifetime, remember. At different ages we produce different hormones, different enzymes, different type of proteins like that. All those things are basically depending on translation. Now listen, what are the steps involved in translation? I have to tell you. There are 4 steps involved in translation, remember. 4 steps are there. The first step is called as activation of amino acid, it can be called. Activation of amino acid. That is the first step we have to do here. What are amino acids? They are the raw materials. Those amino acids must be activated, they must be made ready for protein biosynthesis. Second step involved in translation is initiation of a polypeptide chain or initiation of translation, it can be called initiation. Third step involved here is known as elongation. Remember this point, elongation. So activation of amino acid, initiation and elongation. In addition to that, the last and fourth step is called as termination, we can say here. Even these three steps, initiation, elongation, termination, you have heard in this transcription also. There, instead of initiation, we use the term promotion or promoter was there. Then structural gene was there. Then what is that? Terminator gene was there. Here also, during protein synthesis, we need 4 steps actually. Let me explain you about the process of activation of amino acid. Remember one point. These amino acids are available in our cytoplasm of the cell. As a pool, we can say. Pool means a group of amino acid they can become. This is called the amino acid pool. How do we get that amino acid in our cytoplasm? From digestion, we take the amino acid. How digestion produced amino acid? By digesting the protein which we eat. So our food provides protein. That protein we will digest, we will get amino acid. Those amino acids will be stored here in the amino acid pool. Whenever we want this raw material or this amino acid has to be activated and they have to be utilized properly. That process of activation, the energizing the amino acid, is called activation of amino acid. Listen to it. Now, during this activation of amino acid, a particular amino acid, okay, remember this point, any particular amino acid you take, it may be phenylalanine, it may be valine, it may be glutamic acid, whatever it is. That amino acid will join with one ATP molecule here. ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate, we can say. So it will give energy. Already we know that ATP is the energy currency of our cells. So ATP will join with the amino acid, and in addition to this, we will be getting or we will be using one enzyme as a catalyst for this purpose. What is the name of that enzyme? Means amino acid tRNA synthetase enzyme. It is not amino acid tRNA synthetase enzyme. This complex will happen for the first time. When this complex is joining, when they are grouping together, we get a product of this reaction. I am writing this product here. That is known as amino acid AMP enzyme complex we are writing. In addition to this amino acid AMP enzyme complex, 2 inorganic phosphates will be released actually. See, ATP will donate 1 phosphate, it will remove 2 phosphates so that it will become AMP. That AMP will join with the amino acid. It may be phenylalanine, it may be valine, whatever it is. It will join with that amino acid, AMP, and this enzyme complex will be formed. So what do we get in the first step? We get, this is the first step during activation. We get amino acid AMP enzyme complex. We are getting. What is the name of that enzyme? Amino acid tRNA synthetase enzyme. Okay. Now what is the next step? B. Second step means this amino acid AMP enzyme complex will react with or it will join with a tRNA molecule. Here you have to remember this point. The tRNA should be cognate tRNA. On the other day I told you what is called cognate tRNA. It must be specific for this amino acid. Not that any tRNA will go and take that amino acid. Phenylalanine means it should have a particular anticodon in that tRNA. So that anticodon amino acid recognition is very important. That understanding is very important. So a cognate tRNA will come and bind with the amino acid. Now what do we get? We get amino acid tRNA complex. This is known as charging of the tRNA, we can say, or activation of the tRNA, it can be called. What is meant by charging of the tRNA? Imagine this is the tRNA structure with 3 loops and everything. In this 3' end, our amino acid will go and shift, or it will go and occupy. So here amino acid will be occupying that position. Now this tRNA is called amino acid tRNA. Do you get my point? This is called amino acid tRNA. What is the speciality of amino acid tRNA? It is predetermined already. Which amino acid it should carry, that is predetermined already. For example, here in the anticodon, depending upon anticodon, that particular amino acid only will come and bind there. In valine tRNA, phenylalanine cannot be added. In glutamic acid tRNA, you cannot add tryptophan or other thing. So they are specific, they are cognate in nature. That cognative tRNA we are getting. So then what is the work of AMP and enzyme? This AMP will be released as a byproduct. It will go out and once again it will become ATP molecule. That is a different aspect. In addition to that, the enzyme will also be recycled, it can also be reused. It is a catalyst. Catalyst does not take part in the reaction, it will be released. So students, there are 2 steps in the activation of amino acid. First step is amino acid will bind with the energy currency, so that we will get, and one enzyme will be used here. The name of that enzyme is called amino acid tRNA synthetase enzyme. These 3 compounds will join together, they will become amino acid AMP enzyme complex. That is the first step, formation of amino acid AMP enzyme complex. What is the second step? Amino acid AMP enzyme complex will join with tRNA. Here you should not forget to remember that a tRNA should be a specific tRNA. That tRNA should be cognate tRNA. Every tRNA cannot come and join with every amino acid. There is specificity. Who determined that specificity? Anticodon. Anticodon is nothing but complementary to the codon. Codon is nothing but complementary to the template stack. So finally, DNA dictates the term. Remember, finally it is the DNA which decides the cognitive tRNA. So tRNA complex will be formed. This is called amino acid tRNA complex. Amino acid tRNA complex will be formed. AMP will be regenerated, enzyme will be recycled again. So remember, we are getting a activated amino acid. tRNA is called charged tRNA. Do you get my point? This tRNA is called charged tRNA. What is meant by charged tRNA? The tRNA which carries its specific cognitive amino acid. The tRNA which carries its specific amino acid is called charged tRNA. First you are activating it by using energy, then you are charging it with the tRNA molecule. Now vehicle is ready, tRNA is ready with raw material. What is raw material? Amino acid. So remember, specific amino acid will have specific tRNA for their usage. A particular amino acid will have a particular tRNA only. That is called cognitiveness, we can see. Anyhow, make note of this first point, activation of tRNA or activation of amino acid. Let me come to the second point called initiation later. So just make note of this. We will go for initiation. Okay, students, you may be knowing now what is called activation of amino acid. Now, tRNA is charged with amino acid. The next step here is initiation, we can see. What is that initiation means? You must know that the starting of translation process is called initiation. You know that mRNA is produced by means of transcription in the nucleus. In eukaryotic cell, that mRNA will be undergoing processing. Processing is nothing but gene splicing, where introns are removed and exons are joined to become a functional mRNA. That functional mRNA will be released into the cytoplasm. There in the cytoplasm, when the mRNA comes like this, imagine this is the mRNA. In this mRNA, you know already, there is a 5' end, there is a 3' end present here. In the 5' end, there will be G cap, otherwise methylated capping will be present. After the 3' end are here, there will be tailing or poly A tail will be present. Now in this mRNA, there is a first codon called initiating codon. Initiating codon is called AUG. It is called AUG. In the 3' end, towards the 3' end, we have stop codon, otherwise terminator codon. What are terminator codons? Either UAA or UAG or UGA. Any one of them will be present. In between, we have codons. Is it or not? We have codon. Remember, this is the first codon. This is the second codon. This is the third codon, fourth one, fifth one, like that. Hundreds of codons are present. Let us not draw all the codons here. And we need not bother about their composition also. Just remember, codons are triplet. Each triplet codes for one amino acid. That is the main point. Okay. Now what happens during initiation means the ribosome, smaller subunit of ribosome will come and bind with this mRNA in the beginning. The smaller subunit will come and bind with the mRNA. So initiation starts with binding of mRNA with the smaller subunit of ribosome. Already I told you one point. When the cell is not undergoing protein synthesis, the two subunits of the ribosome will be independent. They present freely in the cytoplasm. Only when the need arises, they will come and join with each other. So smaller subunit will come and join with the mRNA. That is called initiation. That is the first step involved in initiation. In the NEET 2020, okay, the previous exam, this question was asked. Initiation starts with binding of smaller subunit with mRNA. That is the answer. That is the point we have to remember. After binding of the smaller subunit, larger subunit will come and bind with this mRNA here. Larger subunit will also come and bind here. Remember, already I told you one point. Larger subunit has got two windows in it. Is it or not? There are two windows. One is called P side, otherwise P window. Another one is called as A window. It can be called. Now, very interesting point is the window window P. It will receive the tRNA. It will take the tRNA containing the methionine in it. First tRNA will bring the methionine amino acid. It will bring methionine amino acid and join here. Which position? P position. So first position is AUG, initiator codon. With AUG, who will come and join? The tRNA carrying methionine will come and bind there. In which part of the larger subunit? It will bind with the P side of the larger subunit. So to the P side, methionine tRNA will come and join. Now what happens after joining here? Depending upon the second codon, imagine now, second codon is in the form of G means. Now who will come here? Which tRNA will come in the second position means? The tRNA which will be having C will be coming and joining or entering into the A site. Remember this point. A site will receive the second codon or second anticodon, it will receive. Second anticodon depending upon CCC. Another amino acid. Let us imagine some valine. I am not talking about genetic code dictionary, perfect here. Imagine this CCC brings one amino acid. That will enter in the second position here. It will be carrying the amino acid number 2. Which is amino acid number 1, that is methionine. Where it will bind? It will bind with the first codon, codon number 1. Codon number 2 will receive amino acid number 2. It may be valine, it may be whatever it is bringing according to the message given by mRNA. Do you get my point? This is called the initiation complex. In initiation complex, what is happening? mRNA will, functional mRNA will come to the cytoplasm. It will join with the smaller subunit of ribosome at its 5' end. Larger subunit of ribosome will come and bind with the mRNA in such a way that its P site will occupy AUG or its P site will occupy initiator. When larger subunit bound with the mRNA, first tRNA carrying methionine will enter into the ribosome. It will go and occupy P site. So what happens in P site? Here you can see initiator codon, here you can see methionine tRNA. So always 99% first amino acid will be methionine only. That is called initiator amino acid or initiation codon AUG. That anticodon will be UAC, you may be remembering, that will come and bind. Then to the, now A site is vacant. To the A site, second tRNA having its cognitive amino acid will come and bind in the A site. This step is called the initiation, we can see. One interesting point is, this step requires energy. Energy is used in the form of ATP molecule. For binding of ribosome, for the entry of tRNA, we use energy. This step is using initiation factors also for this purpose. Enzymes catalyzing this step will be called initiation factors. It was proved that in prokaryotes there are three types of initiation factors. IF1, IF2, IF3, like that, three types of initiation factors. In eukaryotes, there are 9 types of initiation factors. It was true. So whatever it is, we require 2 more substances for making the initiation complex. Who are they? One is energy currency, another one is initiation factor. Initiation factor can be 3 types in prokaryotes, 9 types in eukaryotes. This is becoming initiation. Okay. Second step is over. First we activated the amino acid, then we initiated the complex. Let me come to the third step, elongation of a polypeptide chain. Very important point, try to listen. During elongation, what happens means there is already methionine sitting in the peptide or P area, P window it is sitting. To the A window who came the second codon with its cognitive amino acid, it has reached. Now remember, between the methionine and the amino acid, the second amino acid, one bond will be created. One special bond will be created. I am talking about elongation. Initiation is over. Same diagram I will use for elongation. During elongation, what happens? Between methionine and number 2 second amino acid, one bond will be created. The name of that bond is called peptide bond. You may be knowing, you may be remembering the structure of amino acid. In the first year you have studied biomolecules. In any amino acid, one side acidic group will be there, another side amino group, NH2 group and COO group will be present on either side. So, NH2 group of one amino acid will react with the COO group of second amino acid. They will create a bond called peptide bond. So one peptide bond is created here. Which enzyme will be used for this purpose means peptidyl synthetase enzyme. Peptidyl synthetase enzyme is used for the formation of peptide bond. The first one was amino acid tRNA synthetase. That is different in activation. In elongation, we use peptidyl synthetase enzyme. In the presence of this enzyme, the amino acid, 2 amino acids will be joined with each other. Now you are getting a small chain with 2 amino acids. 2 amino acids, 1 peptide bond, they are in combination. Dipeptide is called. What happens now? This first tRNA has unloaded its raw material. Second tRNA had got that with its second amino acid. Now first tRNA becomes empty, is it not? After unloading methionine, after joining methionine with the second amino acid, this tRNA will become empty. That empty tRNA will leave the ribosome. Which one? Methionine carrying tRNA was there, with UAC codon, anticodon. It will leave the ribosome. Now P site becomes vacant. Do you get my point? First, in the initiation, A site was vacant. In elongation, P site become vacant. How it is vacant? Its amino acid has been bonded with the second amino acid. So the tRNA is now useless. It has unloaded the raw material. Lorry has to be sent out of the factory. Now tRNA will be sent out of the ribosome. P site become vacant. Now become the elongation. What is that? Ribosomal subunits will move one step towards 3'. the two subunits will jump to the second, what is that, codon. Now because of that, second codon will occupy P site. Third codon, codon number 3, it will occupy A site. Do you get my point? Among the P and A site, second codon will enter into the, what is that, P site. Third codon will occupy the A site. This is A site, this is P site. Now in second, otherwise P site, who are sitting? Two amino acids are sitting. One is methionine, another one is amino acid 2. They are bound by peptide bond. Now what is vacant? A site is vacant. Because of jumping, this third codon will occupy the A site. That site will become empty. Now here third tRNA will enter. Do you get my point? This is the tRNA number 3, which is carrying, imagine phenylalanine. It will come and occupy the third site. Third codon. So here one more tRNA with phenylalanine will come and occupy. First tRNA left its methionine and went out. Second tRNA is carrying two amino acids now. It has occupied P site. A site is vacant. Here in the A site, who will enter now? Third tRNA. In the head of the tRNA, third tRNA, there will be another amino acid, cognitive amino acid. Now remember, between the third amino acid and the second amino acid, peptide bond will be synthesized. Here there is amino acid number 3. This is amino acid number 2. Amino acid number 1 is methionine. Now peptide bond will be formed. Who will synthesize the peptide bond? Peptidyl synthetase. Again, what happens? Second tRNA will become empty because it has given all its raw material to the third one. They are bound by, what is that, peptide bond. Now second tRNA will leave. It is becoming useless. It will go out. Once again, one movement will be happening. Ribosome will move towards 3 prime. One more jump. Because of that, codon number 3 will occupy P site. Codon number 4 will occupy, what is that, A site. Now in the codon number 3 amino acids are joined by 2 peptide bonds. In codon number 4, A site is vacant. Who will enter now? Fourth tRNA. Fourth tRNA with the fourth codon, fourth tRNA will come and join. It is carrying which amino acid? Some fourth amino acid. Let us imagine that will be present. So students, remember this point. Fourth amino acid has joined the A site. Between them again, one peptide bond will be synthesized. So 4 amino acids are joined by 3 peptide bonds. Third tRNA will leave the place. Like this, one tRNA will unload its amino acid and leave the ribosome. New tRNA will enter into the ribosome and bring that amino acid, fourth amino acid like that. Every time one tRNA will be left or leaving, another tRNA will be entering. The tRNA entering will be in the site called A site. That is the entry point for the raw material or tRNA. This is called A amino acid site. Amino acid entry site it is called. So the loaded tRNA enters into A site. It will unload the amino acid, exit out to the P site. Do you get my point? Entry gate is A, exit gate is P. In between, what is happening? The amino acids are brought closer to each other, so that peptide bond will be synthesized between them. Like this, ribosome can make hundreds of movements, 4th to 5th, fifth to sixth, 7, 8, 100 like that, it will be jumping. Every jump, one tRNA will be unloaded and left out. One new tRNA, loaded tRNA will enter. They will form peptide bond. So you will be getting a polypeptide chain at the end of this process. And that is called the elongation. For elongation, we require elongation factors. Again, there will be elongation factors 1, 2, 3 like that. They are involved. In both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, there will be very few elongation factors are operating. They also require energy that is supplied by ATP molecule. Elongation also requires energy. Initiation also required energy. Lastly, let us come to termination. The fourth point called termination, I will explain. Listen. Peptide bond is synthesized by peptidyl synthetase enzyme. New tRNA, loaded tRNA will enter into A site. Unloaded tRNA will leave the ribosome by P site. Remember these points. Let me come to the fourth step involved here. Termination. Very simple process here. Termination. During termination, what happens means, when ribosome is jumping from codon to codon, finally it will reach a point where terminator codon is present. Imagine terminator codon, either UAA or UGA or UAG. Any one of them, if they come, means the ribosome will present. But no more tRNA will enter. tRNA will not enter at that point. Why means? They are nonsense codons. They are stop codons. They are terminator codons. They do not have corresponding anticodon. UAA, UAG, UGA do not have corresponding anticodon. So no more tRNA will enter here. Now A site will remain permanently vacant. Do you get my point? A site will not receive any loaded tRNA. Finally, the P site will form one previous bond and that will become the stopping process. This is called termination process, it can be called. For termination also, we require termination factors. There are initiation factor, elongation factor and termination factors, like that. 3 types of factors help for the process. Please remember, initiation is done by smaller subunit with first codon and larger subunit with first tRNA cognitive amino acid. One amino acid, one tRNA, one smaller subunit, one larger subunit and first codon of mRNA. That group is called initiation complex. After initiation, elongation. During elongation, ribosome will make movement towards 3'. One by one, they will visit the codons. Upon each codon visiting, one new tRNA will come and enter into the A site. And the previous tRNA will unload its amino acid by seeing the new one. And it will go out. Between the amino acid, peptide bond will be formed, so that we will be getting the amino acid chain. This is amino acid 5, amino acid 6. Like that, it will be joining. They will become a polypeptide chain like this. So polypeptide chain is formed in the P site with the help of peptidyl synthetase. I hope I made it clear. This is the process of translation. Process of translation could be asked in 5-mark question. You have to write these 4 steps simply. One diagram you can draw, which is given in your textbook also. They have taken 2 ribosomes like that. Now listen to me. In prokaryotes or eukaryotes, if you take means, after visiting some 20 to 25 codons, what can happen means one more ribosome may come and join with the mRNA. So at a specific point, if you see means, there will be one mRNA which will be having many ribosomes in it. Here one ribosome, after 22 months, another ribosome, another 20, another ribosome, like that they will be joined. So one mRNA carrying many ribosomes. Of course, all of them will produce same polypeptide. This is one polypeptide, same polypeptide chain they will produce. There won't be change. Suppose if I want the 5 number of beta chain means, there will be 5 ribosome binding with mRNA. So when a single mRNA is bound by many ribosomes, that condition is called as polysomes pair. You might have heard this word in the first year also. The word polysome refers to binding of many ribosomes with one mRNA. So one mRNA will not be wasted after producing one polypeptide chain. It can be utilized for 5 to 6 polypeptide chain, same type of chain. Not that this will produce alpha chain, this will produce beta chain, like that. All the polypeptide chain will be same type only, because same mRNA, same codon, and tRNA amino acid will be used. By this mechanism, we are able to synthesize protein very fast way and efficiently, quickly also. This is called a process of translation. Remember this point? Translation involves 4 steps. Activation of amino acid, initiation of polypeptide chain, elongation of polypeptide chain, and termination of polypeptide chain. I have explained you. Make note of this. Just we will continue.